Hello, and thank you for tuning in to episode 9 of the Good News Network. My name is Luke Speckman, and this is my lovely wife, Brandon.
And we are reporting to you from New York City.
In today's edition, we'll take a look at the abundance in April that God so graciously gave us this past month.
From Samoa to San Diego to South America, we will hear from our churches worldwide and all the ways that God's Spirit has been moving.
Wherever you are, whatever time zone you're in, thank you for watching. In this episode, we'll start off with breaking news and updates from our church family in India.
Now, national reports state that in the last few weeks, India has been hit with an overwhelming outbreak of COVID-19. With a total population of 1.4 billion people, deaths have reached over 4,000 per day, making the total number of deaths over 200,000. This news has shocked the world and all of us as a church.
In mid-April, we learned that over 30 disciples in New Delhi were battling COVID-19. This included our dear friends Raja and Debs Rajan, who oversee all of our churches in India, as well as their 3 children.
Now, after being refused treatment due to the extreme shortage of hospital beds and oxygen, Raja, who also suffers from diabetes, laid bedridden at home with labored breathing, weakness, and fever, and unable to eat for 5 days. So our movement leader, Kit McKean, called all the disciples in our 112 churches around the world to unite in a day of fasting and prayer on Monday, April 26, to save Raja's life and all who had contracted COVID-19. Isaiah 58 talks about how fasting gets God's attention, and praise God that very day Raja received a hospital bed and oxygen. And God absolutely moved mountains. Our dear brother Raja is now in stable condition. His recovery is so miraculous that Deb sent this text. Family, God is good. Thank you for all your prayers. Miraculously, Raja's lungs are completely cleared. Even the doctors were amazed at his rapid progress. He was discharged from the hospital Sunday, May 2nd. Once again, thank you for your prayers and support.
I just want to take this moment to thank every single brother and sister of mine who prayed and fasted for my health to not deteriorate and for my speedy recovery. I'm so grateful. And also for the about 30 Indian disciples who are suffering from COVID-19.
I am so grateful for Raja's miraculous healing. The call has come for every disciple who has access to the vaccine to be vaccinated so that we can meet safely in person again. As well, there should be a huge jump in baptisms, because when non-Christians see our love, they are often moved to study the Bible as they have never seen anything like this before. Now, there are those few who cannot be vaccinated because of underlying health conditions or conscience issues. Amen. But let's hear from our sister in the Boston church, Dr. Cassandra Akin of Beth Israel, to comment briefly on this topic.
Good morning, family. My name is Dr. Cassandra Akin. I'm a practicing family medicine physician here at Beth Israel in Massachusetts. I wanted to talk to you guys about the COVID vaccine. Right now, 56% of our population has had at least 1 dose of the vaccine, which is great. Now we're trying to move towards something called herd immunity, where 70 to 90% of our population has been vaccinated, now decreasing the likelihood of COVID spreading, as fast as it has been. Now I know most of us have missed going to GLCs and World Mission Conferences, and a great way to not only protect ourselves, but even our brothers and sisters, is to get the vaccine if you're willing and able, especially if you're high risk. Now, at this point, if you have any questions regarding the side effects of the vaccine, I always recommend reaching out to your primary care provider in order to get all those questions answered. I love you guys so much and can't wait for us to get back to a normal sense of fellowship. Love you guys.
Thank you so much, Dr. Akin. I've been vaccinated myself.
And I was vaccinated too. As a cancer survivor, I was able to receive mine in the first wave.
Please continue to pray for our brothers and sisters in India, as well as around the world, who are hoping in God for the opportunity to be fully vaccinated themselves.
Now, every disciple dreams to see their family members become disciples. Don't we all? Next, we will highlight 3 baptisms that are products of years of radical prayers and lives lived with a radical faith. First, after 24 years of her son praying for this moment, Mariel, who is 85 years old, was baptized on April 17th in our Miami church. She is the mother of Raul Moreno, who planted our incredible congregation in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And now, Raul and Linda lead the Mexico City church. And if you remember, back in August, Raul was able to baptize his dad 2 months before he went on to glory. His dad inspired us all just before he passed when he told Raul, "I want to go to heaven." Also on April 17th, over in sunny California, God brought Tim Jr., who was only 12 years old, into the waters of baptism. He is the eldest son of dynamic Los Angeles church leaders, Doctors Tim and Leanne Kernan. About 1 week later, the Lagos evangelist Bolaji Akinfenwa and his amazing wife Chinyere baptized their teenage son Timothy. He was baptized 1 day after his father's birthday. What a birthday gift. The Akinfenwa's daughter Abigail was baptized just 2 years ago. What a dream come true for these 3 families.
Of immense excitement, God is gathering and reuniting our brothers and sisters from all over the world. Nehemiah wrote about this ageless principle in the first chapter of his book when he prayed, "O God of heaven, remember the instruction you gave your servant Moses, saying, 'If you are unfaithful, I will scatter you among the nations. But if you return to me and obey my commands, then even if your exiled people are at the farthest horizon, I will gather them from there and bring them to the place I have chosen as a dwelling for my name.'" Truly, no one argues that our former fellowship, the International Churches of Christ, was not scattered. And today we understand that God is gathering these hurting disciples into his new movement, the International Christian Churches, no matter what corner of the globe they live in. In Sao Paulo, we had 2 incredible couples join our fellowship. Anildo and Marine Passos, former full-time sector leaders in the ICOC, were restored. And their decision inspired another couple, Rodrigo and Luciene Sabino, to come and see. After witnessing Luciene's own mother, Dona Josefa, get baptized, they were finally surrendered and were restored as well. In the Southland region of LA, the Lord is bringing in an amazing harvest of veteran disciples. Seeking spiritual revival, Eddie and Lori Anderson placed membership from the ICOC in April. You probably recall last month's GNN, we mentioned Paul and Kim Hammond joining us. Well, in April, they not only studied the 5 core convictions with the Andersons, but also Paul's mother, Judy, placed membership. She has been a faithful disciple for 28 years. There was another family addition in Lagos, Nigeria. Emmanuel, who was baptized as a campus student in the Lagos ICOC, placed membership with us as he was inspired to see the change in his parents, Wala and Yinka Balagon, when they joined the new movement.
Now, over in the Philippines, God has established the Tagigaraw Remnant Group. In episode 7, we shared with you the baptisms of Church of Christ preacher Jean V. de los Reyes and his wife Marianne. In April, the hard-working Manila church leaders, Ricky and Colleen Chalonor, baptized another Church of Christ preacher and his wife, June and Maricel Babaron. The Barons oversee 3 mainline Church of Christ congregations and humbly accepted the discipleship, seeing clearly that they nor their members had ever been made into disciples before baptism. They are fired up and ready to study the Bible and baptize not only their own congregations, but the millions of lost souls in North Luzon Island.
That's so faith-building to see mainline Church of Christ remnant joining God's movement, as well as the ICOC remnant. God is really moving through his movement. Now let's go over to the South Pacific island nation of Samoa for our Day in the Life of a Disciple segment.
Mati. I am 21 years of age. I come from the village of Sinamonga here in Apia, Samoa, and I got baptized last year on 20th of September 2020. I am super grateful for my spiritual family and the kingdom because of how they actually helped me out by using the scriptures to really strengthen me out. When I became a disciple, there were a lot of challenges that I faced. And it really makes me feel like, wow, becoming a disciple is something really hard. And especially here in Samoa, like family here in Samoa, this is always been a place where it's so hard for us to really focus on God because people really love their family and family is always the priority. And you know that Samoan family always prioritize their culture. And that's why it's really hard for them. And most of our persecution and things that are happening here in Samoa and even decision as well are made by family. One of the biggest challenge I was facing was really not pursuing my dream of going to New Zealand. As we all know that here in Samoa, like every family, when we go to New Zealand, it is something like it seems like we're going to heaven because family know very well that New Zealand is a land where there are a lot of money and all this stuff. There's a good future and good money outside there. But when my family really tried to force me to really go, and that time they really want me to complete my visa, and I knew it as well. Like I asked about the church, and they said that where they are is really far from where the church is, and it makes me like feel like this is God's plan for me to stay. And then I decided to stay because I really need to be with my spiritual family and provide for my spiritual family more than my own family. My mom didn't like me while studying the Bible, and there's one day that she got really mad at me and she punched me in the face, like right after I just finished my Bible study, and threw all my stuff outside, even my clothes, and said that I had to go and look for somewhere to live. And then on that time I was crying and really grabbed all the stuff, and I just walked on the road, walking about 2 hours, praying to God to really help me out and really heal my heart. And you know, God really helped me to feel that I have to forgive my mom, because that's what the Bible is talking about forgiving, and no matter what she do. So I'm so grateful for God on that time, like He was healing my heart and helping me out to really feel encouraged to keep on going. I was been through a lot, facing a lot of persecution and even difficulties as well, but it will never stop my family from really helping me out and encourage me and help me to keep on going and keep on fighting, because we're gonna fight this battle together as a family. And this is why we are here for each other. We are here to save people, and also we have to help each other and be united in Christ as one family, one heart, one love, and always know that God is our main priority.
Thank you, my dear sister, for sharing your life with us. The American author Wayne Dyer says, abundance is not something we acquire, it is something we tune into. This month, the Sold Out Movement's theme was Abundant April. So let's tune in for some of the momentous ways that the Spirit moved around the world.
One thing our brothers and sisters in the Philippines believe is that rice is life. However, for Jazz Movido, the Manila Women's East Region leader, rice became sacrifice. Jazz decided to fast from rice this entire year until she was personally fruitful. So during her fast, she reached out to Fang through the Bumble app, and because of Jazz's sacrifice and boldness, God worked powerfully to give Fang a new life as a baptized disciple of Jesus. What a way to be radical, Jazz.
In Matthew 9:37, Jesus encouraged the disciples that the harvest is plentiful. Even more special is when we see that harvest multiplying in Bible Talks. In Lima, Peru, the Phoenix Bible Talk, led by Lucas Tria, has had an extraordinary harvest in 2021. Beginning with only 7 disciples at the start of the year, this Bible Talk has already seen 7 baptisms in 4 months. Through this, the entire church has been inspired by their faith and their pace. Now here's some fun family news from Mexico City. Our sister Paola Ramos Peraza, stage name Paulix, the former lead rock guitarist for the musical Jesus Christ Superstar, is now doing children's programming on YouTube. On her show, Epic Mermaid Tales, she reads bedtime stories available in both Spanish and English. Her motivation came from her own childhood abuse, which led to drug use and addiction for 13 years. Now her goal is to speak for those who can't speak for themselves, as stated in Proverbs 31. Her 13-minute short film, entitled Sarinas, is perhaps her greatest effort in meeting this need. In this vibrant production, she plays and sings both mermaid leads, Ariana and Alana. Please visit her channel to subscribe and tune in.
Each soul saved is a remarkable transformation for God, and hearing Marcos Garcia's story only shows how much suffering we all endure in the world when we live apart from Him. Initially born in Brazil, Marcos lived a life of homosexuality for over 25 years. He moved to England 15 years ago to get a master's degree. He consistently prayed for a way out of his dark life and for people who could help him. Marcos was first shared on Instagram by Birmingham evangelist Frank Simoline, but he didn't respond. Then 2 days later, he was met in person again by Frank. Seeing that God was trying to get his attention by having the same person meet him in different ways, Marcos decided to study the Bible immediately. Not only was Marcos baptized, but he is also ready to go on a Portuguese-speaking mission team. Marcos, it's incredible to see God answer your prayers.
Thank you, Paola and Marcos, for letting us share your stories. Thrillingly, we had several kingdom appointments in our Haitian churches. Jean Bernard and Leverly Colleen were appointed evangelist and women's ministry leader. They are actually the first to receive this appointment in our Haitian fellowship of 11 churches and over 500 disciples. They will oversee the churches in Haiti and help begin the work in the Dominican Republic. Immediately after their appointments, Jean Bernard was able to appoint Charlotte Francois and Elise Alexander as evangelists, and Leverly appointed Americia Francois as women's ministry leader.
On the weekend of May 6th through May 9th, the Kiev Church is hosting the in-person 2021 Eurasian Missions Conference. There, they will Elevate Jesus Global Revolution for Women by Dr. Elena McKean, as it was translated into Russian in April. This is momentous for Sold Out Press International, and especially for all of our Russian speakers who will be inspired by Jesus' love and role for women. If you are a Russian speaker, get your copy now.
Many of us have heard it said, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And this is so true. That is why it is so inspiring to see opinion leaders take a stand for Christ and teach others to do so as well. In sunny San Diego, Chantel Anderson, a 6'6" former WNBA player, helped another former WNBA player, a 6'4" Paris Johnson, make Jesus Lord of her life. Recently, Paris scored the position of head basketball coach for one of the top high schools in San Diego. Yet her baptism was the greatest dunk of all. Happy to have you on God's team, Paris.
Our churches in Austral China are rich in diversity, and in the month of April, we saw God bless Sydney with 2 new nations. 5 students were baptized from 3 of the top universities, 2 from China, 1 from Malaysia, 1 from Papua New Guinea, and 1 from Australia. With Anthony from Papua New Guinea and Natasha from Malaysia, we now have 27 nations represented in the Sydney church.
Abidjan's staff fasted and begged the Lord for a triumphant, abundant April, and the Lord, being the faithful God He is, granted them 26 baptisms and 1 restoration in April alone. Their mantra is coming out of the waters running, as many of the young disciples are helping to baptize new disciples right after their own baptisms. Aristide and Solomon were both baptized in March, and both were fruitful in April, with the baptisms of Salvador and Cecile. Great momentum builds as disciples make disciples.
There are so many incredible highlights in the pack. Ariel Cheverin is a Yale graduate who moved to Chicago to play professional women's soccer with the Chicago Red Stars. Amazingly, she began studying the Bible the week she moved, and after a little over a month decided to make Jesus the Lord of her life on September 27, 2020. Within the past 8 months, Ariel's faith, joy, and zeal has impacted the hearts of many. Ariel, during a professional photo shoot, shared her faith with photographer Louis Thompson. He was greatly impacted by her testimony and love for God. He attended Bible Talk that week and was baptized February 25th. Ariel also reached out to her friend of over 4 years, Malcolm Dixon, who was on the Yale football team as a cornerback, but began working as an engineer in Chicago. After many in-depth conversations with Ariel, he began to consistently attend weekly Bible talks. He too studied the Bible. On April 25th, 2021, was baptized into Christ. The Chicago church was just 131 disciples on January 1st, 2020, yet God has multiplied this incredible congregation to now 298 disciples.
One of the most anticipated days of the year is the International Day of Mercy, where mercy ambassadors all over the world get into their communities to make a lasting difference. For many of our churches, this year's event on June 19th will focus on food distribution since COVID-19 has increased global food insecurity. We are looking forward to reporting on all the projects each church initiates. Now, to close out this episode, we have a special focus on our teen ministries. While every soul saved is miraculous, there is something so special about teens making the decision to live for God. And since the birth of God's modern day movement, He has shown us the huge impact of just one teen setting a godly example through their faith.
We began in July of 2003 when the Spirit sent the McKeans to lead the 25 disciples in Portland, Oregon, who thus became the catalysts of God's new movement. In this group, there were 4 campus students and Colleen Untalan, the only teen disciple. From her, the seed of the Portland Teen Ministry sprouted into what became a thriving ministry of about 40 teens in 3 years. Colleen would later go on to marry Ricky Challenor, who, as some of you know, was baptized as a high school teen in Portland. Ricky and co are known and dearly loved by our teens around the world for directing the Ignite Teen Leadership Program before passing it on 2 years ago. Now in their early 30s, the Challenors have been leading churches for 10 incredible years, and they currently lead the mighty Metro Manila Church and oversee the fast-growing Southeast Asia churches. Not surprisingly, the Manila Church has the largest teen ministry in the movement with 98 disciples.
I remember in 2018, New Delhi, India witnessed miraculous growth from one Heartsy teen disciple, Ishita Rajan, to now over 30 teens. And in 2020, the Boston Church Teen Ministry grew from 1 to 23 disciples. Come to think of it, many of our current church leaders were baptized in or before high school. For example, Anthony Almos of Paris, Joel Parlour of Seattle, Mike and Brittany Underhill of Minneapolis, Fernando and Jackie Chavez of Dallas, Sadvi Mendez of Dubai, Jonathan Davis of Connecticut, Rachel McGee of Tampa Bay, Carlos Robielos and JC Jose of Manila, Jordan Swan of New Jersey, Taylor Gardner of Chicago, and in Los Angeles, there are Richie McDonald, Jay Kazi, Dylan Harding, Everardo Esparza, April Baker, and Caleb and Elizabeth Cohen, just to name a few. Oh yes, Elena McKean was baptized at 17, a month before she started her freshman year. So God continues to move mountains through teens. We also have many incredible, full of conviction world changers within our current teen ministries. In 2020, Carlito Mejia of Mexico City was the first teen appointed as a cyber evangelist. We have 2 incredible teen film editors that have encouraged us all with their talents before and during this pandemic. Ari Nakazawa of Cebu and Bridget Speckman of New York City.
Teens are so awesome. This last piece of good news comes all the way from Guam. Keisha, a talented 17-year-old disciple, recently studied the Bible with our sisters in Guam and, in spite of many obstacles, decided to be baptized. Full of zeal for the Lord, she had 12 visitors out to her very first Bible talk as a disciple. Keisha also shared her faith with 4 of her guy friends, and because of Keisha's faith, all 4 of these young men were baptized together in April on Easter Sunday. We are so excited to see how God will raise up more teens to be shining examples for the world.
Absolutely. We thank you so much for tuning in to this month's episode of GNN. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to GNN on YouTube and share it with your friends and family. And once again, we ask that you continue to pray for the speedy recovery of our brothers and sisters in India, as we know that the prayers of the righteous men and women are powerful and effective. We are family to the end.
This is Luke and Brandon Speckman reporting to you from the Good News Network.
The best news you'll ever see.